What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today with a new card show recap video. This one is for the Xenia card show on November 4th, 2022. The Xenia show is one that I have set up at a few times, that I've gone to shop a few times, and typically the experience for me has been a lot better shopping around. I've found some incredible deals there over the past year that I've gone to it. It's gone on for a while, the show has, but I only started attending it, I think, probably around this time last year. And today was no different. I got a nice stack of cards here to show off. Tell you a little bit about the show overall. The impression that I got from a lot of the dealers there, just speaking with them, is that it was a little bit slow, and some even used the D word. It was a little dead. But I mean, from what I could tell, the foot traffic was really no different than a lot of the times. There was definitely, so just for I don't know how to explain this well, but the show is divided between two buildings at a fairground, and these two buildings are connected by this, like, I don't know, little like front area here. It's difficult to describe if you've never been to the show. But typically, the main room is the one where a lot of people do really well. And then there's kind of the side room that depends on how full it is. And this time around, the side room was actually probably as full as the main room. And I felt like that facilitated, easy for me to say, traffic a bit more. And I thought that was good, because I've always been set up in the secondary building, and when it's not as full, it can be a little brutal. Let's just put it that way. So I think that was, it made the optic of it to look a little bit less attended than it was, but I thought the crowd was actually pretty solid. Let me tell you what I got. In fact, let me show you what I got. So I got a nice stack of vintage here, actually, and then some stuff to potentially send off, maybe PSA, but probably SGC is where I'm leaning on it. So first one up here, little Judge. This is Topps Now from his rookie year. 52nd home run, which is what he ended with, and that stood as the rookie home run record for all of 2 years. But if I was going to pick one of the Topps Now Judge cards from 2017, this is one of the ones I would probably choose if I could have any. It was $5. I figured, why not? So grab that one. And then looking at some bundling here, some more raw stuff. I did find this card here. Was shopping with a friend. We were digging through a value box, and he and I were trying to get to an even number of cards. So the dealer threw this one in. It's just a Jalen Hurts rookie from Select. But I was interested in this one here. I saw this Andrew McCutchen autograph, and when he told me how much it was, which this card was $8, that's what he said it was. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I don't think you can buy a McCutchen autograph that cheap. And if you can, that means his market has softened significantly. So went and grabbed that. That's from 2021 Archives. It's the 89 Topps Big foil auto. They're cool looking cards. So that was a quick little deal there. Some more raw cards here. This whole stack was $10, and I was very pleased with what I was able to get out of this stack. So the dealer had a few boxes that had already been picked over. I probably should have started in the main room, because usually that's where everybody starts, so that it gets picked over a lot quicker. But he had also some boxes that you have, like the Ultra Pro for card savers. He had those just filled with Hall of Famers and stars and high numbers of various sets, like late 60s and then throughout the 70s. I think he had every 70 set pretty much covered. So I wanted to look through those, but he also had this 3 for $1 box. I scooped up 3 cards from there. So first one was this Ringmasters Jeter. Just a cool insert. Figured, why not? These were the two I was more so interested in. The Luke Skywalker Star Warrior. Just anytime I see an original Star Wars card from 77 of one of the really main characters like Luke, I'm going to pick it up, especially at 33 cents. And then the Obama card. This one was actually really, I don't know how high I got, but I know that these went up significantly for portion in time. This 2008 political set has a lot of people who are very prominent in the political sphere, if that's your thing. So I know that a lot of people have gravitated towards those cards, especially like the golds and stuff from that. And I figured that was probably too cheap at 33 cents, but I was able to get all those cards, and then I got this stack. These will be going off to SGC pending my review, but they all look pretty solid upon first glance. So 70 McCovey, 72 McCovey, 74 Stargill. Shout out to my Canadian cards. 75 Santo, 75 Gossage. Dick Allen, he's the only non-Hall of Famer. Well, I guess Torrey there, Fergie, but I mean, should be in the Hall of Fame. So I went ahead and grabbed that one as well. So the whole stack there, that stack was $10. And I mean, I can't find that quality of vintage anywhere else for that price. So I appreciate the dealer working with me on that one. That was one of my favorite deals of the day. Great interaction as well. Here's another one. This was a 3-card bundle here. This one I'm going to take out. I haven't taken this out of the top loader yet, but I saw that the scratches on it were on the top loader. All right. Service isn't the best on this card, but it is what it is. You can see here it was in this top loader with all the scratches, but it is a 2010 Topps Chrome Mantle. This card just has, look at the shine on this thing. Insane shine on this card. This is actually one of the better centered ones I've seen too. It's not great, but if you know about 2010 Topps Chrome, you'll know that they're not easily centered. And they have that concave bow to them, like you saw there, where you gotta give them some love to get into the top loaders. So one of those that I just thought was cheap enough. That was $30 with these 2 cards here. Shout out to Big Scott 35, Gary Carter Topps Tiffany 85, PSA 8. Less than the cost of grading to get it, so why not? And then how about a Hall of Fame rookie on the 73 Gossage? There you have it. So that whole stack was $30. So that was that. Moving along, I made a deal with one of my friends. I was walking around and ran into him. He had some stuff for sale. So bought a Jerry Rice rookie and a PSA 7, as well as this Pistol Pete here. 30-year Pistol Pete. Love this design. Classic old school Topps design. In a 7, very well centered for a 7 from this set. A lot of the ones I come across are definitely not as nice as this one here, and it was pretty reasonable. It was $180 for the pair on those two, so I figured that at the very least, the Rice. I wasn't as interested in the Rice. I more so wanted this card, but it's never a bad time to get a Jerry Rice rookie. So went ahead and grabbed that one to go along with it. And the reason I'm not showing you the Rice is because it was moved later that day into this pickup. This is one of the last 2 I have, and it's actually 8 cards all in one. So this is a bundle. You will very quickly sense a theme here, but this was something that I was looking at the start of the show when I got there. I went around, I came back, and I talked to the dealer. We made a deal. Apparently, he has a second one of these sets and then has a third one that he is 1 letter away on. But it is this Letterman set, and these actually sell a lot better than you may think. I ended up giving up some cash. It was 140 cash, if I remember correctly, with the Jerry Rice rookie, and then my Joe Burrow Panini Instant PSA 10. It's a cheap Joe Burrow rookie in there that I bring around mostly as trade bait. I've had a couple of them, but this one here, AJ Green, another guy who is going to go down as probably best known for his time with the Bengals here in Cincinnati. But here he is with the Georgia Bulldogs, where he went to college at. And these Letterman's kind of an upper deck thing. Topps kind of dabbled with it a little bit. I think Panini, you sometimes see some like nameplate letters from them and like national treasures from the Pro Bowl jerseys. But really, whenever I see the Letterman stuff, I think of upper deck. And specifically, a lot of these college ones is probably where they've been most prominent in most recent times, upper deck. I don't know if they do many of these with hockey, but point being that some of these college ones sell for crazy amounts, and I did not know that until a few weeks ago. So thankfully, that experience that I had a few weeks ago learning about these in terms of what their market is helped me a lot. So these greens, there's all 8 of them here are numbered to 35, and one of the things that I think is interesting, because there's 2 L's, it spells out Bulldogs. I don't know if these L's, I would assume that there's 2 different L's in the set, maybe. It's kind of difficult to tell, but if there's not, then that would make things a little bit more complicated, because each of these is numbered to 35, which in theory means that you could only build 35 of those full sets. And if the L's themselves, if they don't double up, because you need 2 to spell out Bulldogs here, that means you could only build like 18 of them. And again, this guy, he had nearly 3 complete sets. I just bought this one from him, so I now have one of these. But I just thought this was insanely cool, and went ahead and grabbed them all. They are all slabbed up too, so they're all in the same holder, which is nice. I'm not really too concerned about the grade. These, if you bought them raw, wouldn't grade all that well anyways in most cases. It's just nice to have them all slabbed up. I'll get them all in these PSA perfect fit sleeves as well to get them all uniform and consistent. But yeah, this was one of my favorite buys I've had in quite some time. And then last but not least, this full stack was $420. 3 cards here. Some more that will be looked at in the grading pile. Cheap little low grade 72 Frank Robinson there with the Dodgers. Love this card. I picked up a lot of these, I feel, this year. Little diamond cut on this one, but otherwise the centering on it is pretty solid. Not a high-grade example, but I wasn't expecting to find one, especially at this price. So Hank Aaron, all-time home run king. So those 2. And then to get the $420, you might be wondering what came with those 2. Well, how about an Ovechkin rookie? Yes, I know. Hockey on this channel. I don't do too much hockey, which is, I grew up in Hockey Town. You would think that I would be more of a hockey guy. And I mean, I'm a fan. I follow my Red Wings, but in terms of buying hockey cards, it's not something that I have done, which is also kind of strange, because when I first got into collecting way, way, way back when I was a kid, well, not all that long ago, probably for some of you out there. Yes, I know I'm young, but you know what I mean. Back when I was very young, I actually was into hockey cards. I wasn't into baseball or football or anything. I was just into hockey cards. So that was what actually my first love in the hobby was collecting those. So if thinking back to then, it probably walked by so many 2005 packs back then, when Crosby, I remember, was a huge deal at the time and still is today. But Ovechkin, I mean, I feel that Ovechkin is on that tier of like a Mike Trout type, where even if you're not a hockey collector or hockey fan, you know who Ovechkin is and respect what he's done and what he is still doing today. So I saw this one here from UD Power Play in a 10, not an easy card to get a 10 on. And man, oh man, glad to have this one. So there we go. That was one that I was very excited about, the centerpiece of that deal. So that was it for the pickups. Tell you a bit about the show floor. Good variety this time around. There was a lot more hockey than what I am used to. Just talking with Eric, those back pages, I feel like maybe I'm picking up more on the hockey or noticing it more. Maybe that's it. But other than that, there was more vintage at the show than there has been in recent months from some dealers that I see around every now and then. But maybe they just don't always consistently set up. So that was nice to see. Of course, the Bengals cards were out in full force. Anytime that you're within an hour drive of Cincinnati, it seems like there's going to be a lot of Bengals stuff. So there was a ton of it, and I mean, people were interested in it too. To tell you what was hot and what was not, Burrow and Chase, man, they are like your bread and butter, your meat and potatoes, whatever analogy you want to use. They are the kings of the jungle here in Cincinnati, and people love their cards. So a lot of people were interested in those. And when I was walking around or just hearing people come up the tables, that was a lot of what people were asking for were those 2 guys. So That was it. The raw vintage also was very hot at this show. Not as much on the graded stuff. From what I have found at this show, historically, a lot of the graded vintage, I feel like I get the better deals on the raw stuff when I'm walking around. So I did find a few things, as you saw there, to pick up. There were a few other cards I had my eye on, but the one that I probably will regret later on is that there was this gentleman who had a PSA 5 Carl Yastrzemski rookie for $300. Very fair price. And it was a 5. And of course, with a 5, you're going to have to give up some things. And it was a little more off centered than I would like. Centering is my number one thing. So I walked away from it. It's one of those that I'm probably going to be thinking about a little bit because I thought it was a really solid price. And but I mean, if I'm going to spend the money on it, I want to get an example that I'm really happy with. And if that means I got to pay a little bit more down the line, then I'll pay that down the line. So it is what it is. I think that yeah, I can always find another Yastrzemski rookie, but I mean that gentleman had a good price on his for sure. So tell you what wasn't so hot at the show. There was some wax again, but not a lot of people carrying around the wax that I could see. Usually when the wax is selling, I can see people walking around and they have it. And today I saw a few dealers ripping their own wax, but not a lot of people buying the wax. I did hear one person who sold out a lot of their wax, which is, hey, that's always a good thing when you sell out a portion of your inventory. But other than that, I didn't see a lot of it moving around, so that wasn't so hot. And then outside of that, baseball, really, I mean, not much love. It makes sense where I'm at, just with the Reds. There are so many people disenfranchised with that franchise and how they do things in terms of getting rid of all their best players as soon as money even remotely could become an issue with retaining some of those guys. So I can understand why a lot of people around here are not as high on baseball right now. But football is strong. A lot of interest in basketball as well. But it seemed like football was ruling at this. So let me wrap it up here. Nope, not overall impressions. It's takeaways time. I always give you something I like, something I didn't like, and something I liked to wrap up the recap here. Let me start off with something I liked. I alluded to this earlier on, but the balance of the two buildings in which the show takes place in terms of the number of tables, it felt like it was a lot more balanced, which I think helps with facilitating traffic, making sure no room gets too crowded. It's really typically not an issue at this show, but there have been times that I felt like where things can get a little bit tighter, or there could be a lot of business going on in one building while the other one is a little bit behind. But I felt like it was a lot more spread out today, and I think it helped spread the love a bit too. So that was something that was cool to see, and hopefully that's a trend going forward, especially if I'm setting up again at this show. But again, as I mentioned, it seemed to do better walking around whenever I go to Xenia. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Something that I did not like at this show. I had a good friend of mine. His name is Scott, and I've done plenty of deals with him before. And I was overhearing a conversation he was having with another dealer. He might not even know that I was overhearing this conversation, but apparently at a show last weekend, someone had broke one of his cases, his showcases, by putting their case, their Zion case, Pelican case, whatever it was, on top of his showcase. And I had that happen too. I had a gentleman a couple months ago who leaned on one of mine and snapped it, actually, and then another guy who rested his stuff, like his bag of stuff, on my case, and it damaged it even more because it was already broken. If he had just done it before it was broken, I'm sure it would have been fine. But I mean, still, I'm hearing that happen more and more with people taking around their cases. And I mean, I carry one of them around too. I understand that sometimes that may come with a reputation, both good and bad. I've heard it from both sides of the table there in terms of what people think about, with little carrying cases. But I always ask when I'm going to go set down my case. And some dealers tell me to set it down on theirs. I try to set it where is going to be the least disruptive. I don't want to cover up their showcases in case other people want to come by and look. I don't want to set it where it could damage or break something of theirs or something of whoever is running the show. If they have like a table out and it's a table that probably shouldn't be supporting that kind of weight, which I mean, then I don't know why you would be using it for a show anyways. But the point is that I don't want it to be disruptive or to cause the dealer any distress. But hearing that, it really does piss me off a little bit, especially having gone through it. But word of wisdom out there: if you carry around any kind of case or even just a box of stuff that you carry around to at these shows or a book bag, whatever it might be, don't set it on people's showcases. Set it on the ground next to you. Set it on an open space on their table if they allow you to. Be polite. Ask where the best place to put it is. I can't tell you how frustrating it is when someone just slams their stuff down on your case. But just a little bit of etiquette goes a long way. And I hate to hear when people are having to replace showcases or do maintenance on them because someone just dropped their stuff down on it. It feels disrespectful to me. So just I wanted to put that out there. It's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Let me wrap up on a positive note, as we always try to do on this show. Something I liked, and man, there's a lot of things that I could choose. I would say probably today, with looking at the raw vintage in particular, I have dealers who will sometimes, when I come up and I look at their vintage, because I'm a younger guy and I look like a younger guy, they talk to me in a more so condescending way, or they talk to me in a way where I don't know what I'm looking at, and just assuming that because I'm younger, I don't know what I'm looking at, or I might not be interested in it. And that was not the case today. I felt like I was treated like an equal, and I can say it does not always happen that way when I'm looking at older cards. So that was definitely nice to be treated that way and just have that mutual respect. It makes me more willing to make a deal as well when that happens and the conversations are pleasant. So that was very nice to have that, because it's not always that way. So that was a positive to wrap things up. But that'll do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of the Xenia show for November 2022, and I will catch you soon. Take care, stay safe, be kind.